for class? Welcome back to the Panic Room, everyone, for another episode of Pax's Little Library of Horrors. So today's video is for all my fellow Edward Gorey fans out there. If you've been watching this series for any length of time, you know that I'm a massive fan of Edward Gorey. He is like a staple of children's horror. So the book that we're going to talk about today, I came across really randomly. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this exists. And it is freaking perfect. So today we're going to talk about 26 Absurdities of Tragic Proportions. I know you're asking yourself, Pax, what the hell is this? Well, this is the expanded backstory for all of our dear children in the Ghastly Crumb Tinies that we covered in another episode. I know, right? I was super excited. The Ghastly Crumb Tinies is an amazing book, and to know that there's a backstory for all of our characters, holy crap. So I was amazed. I was amazed that Matthew C. Woodruff, our author, took one line and made such awesome little short stories for each of these children. Now, unfortunately, it is rather long, so we can't read it, but I thought it might be cool maybe just to pick out a couple of the stories in here and tell you guys the backstory that Matthew C. Woodruff came up with. Now, obviously, if you want to read this for yourself, you might want to consider this a spoiler alert. So for me, I wanted to start with E is for Ernest, who choked on a peach. This one had one of the most strangest twist endings to me. Ernest is an orphan boy. He's living with a very well-to-do family, and their maid kind of takes him under her wing, right? And you keep getting, all the stories told from her perspective, and you keep getting this whole thing like, oh, he was so sweet, he's so innocent, he's so pure, he's like an angel sent from heaven. And she does all these things for him, like, you know, knits him clothing and makes sure he has toys and gives him his favorite food, which is a peach. And so here I am thinking like, okay, it's going to be this tragic story about how he chokes on a peach pit. No. No. Come to find out, the maid thought that he was too good for this world and poisoned him. Poisoned him with the peach. I thought that was freaking awesome. I thought that was awesome. Yeah, so that was how Ernest met his end. So next up, let's do S is for Susan, who perished of fits. So this one had another ending that I was like, wow, I didn't see that one coming. So Susan is the daughter of a very prim and proper woman. You know, she's not allowed to have emotion or, you know, show any kind of excitement or anything at all. You know, her mom just thinks it's not proper. Well, one day this new family moves in, and her mom, being the proper lady she is, wants to go and like welcome them. But she's terrified to find out that they have a daughter Susan's age, and she just knows it's going to be this really bad influence, blah, 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 blah. Well, then her husband's mother gets sick, and she's in need of a babysitter. So Susan finds out that she can go to this girl's house. You know, she ends up spending a lot of time there. And this girl tells her about how, like, oh, you can throw fits and get whatever you want. So Susan decides to try it one night, except that she has a heart condition, and so when she's flailing around and stuff, she pretty much has a heart attack and dies. I know. It's crazy. I was like, what? What the crap, man? I thought that was awesome, though. You know, I never would have saw that coming. Ever. Never in a million years would I have thought to even put that as part of her story. Oh, so next, let's do V is for Victor, squashed under a train. Now, obviously, right off the bat, we're dealing with some serious stuff. Kid got hit by a train. This backstory, holy God. So you find out that Victor is obsessed with trains and he likes to watch them, but his favorite movie is The Polar Express, which I'm a little too old for. That was not in my childhood, but I know that it is very, like, well loved by many people. His train station decides to, like, do their own Polar Express thing, so he's super excited about it. And the night that they go, you know, he's got like his teddy bear and his pajamas and he's ready to go like have hot chocolate. And he gets so enamored looking at this like Christmas train that he gets hit by a train. Yeah, it's like, what? Like, that's not even part of my childhood and I feel like you ruined it. Like, wow. That was something. So the last one I wanted to do was Z. Z is for Zilla, who drank too much gin. Now, I was like, how in the hell are they going to get this kid to drink gin? And it's this big... What I love about a lot of these stories is that some of them have the kid as the main character, and some of them don't. Some of them have, like, it's very auxiliary, you know? Actually, I'll give you an example here in a minute after we do Zilla. So Zilla's whole thing is she lives with, like, I think it's her grandma, who is an alcoholic. And she gets so lonely that she wants to have this tea party with her doll, and they're so poor that she doesn't have tea. So she just goes and gets some gin. Yeah. And drinks it at her tea party. And yeah. So sad, huh? So when I said that some of the kids aren't the main focus, K is for Kate, who's struck with an axe, is a really good example of that. The story isn't even about Kate. It's about, like, this person who wants to go kill this particular, like, family in the woods, and Kate happens to be visiting and takes off running when she sees what's happening, but it's, like, barely mentioned that Kate gets killed. Matter of fact, it's kind of more alluded to that Kate gets killed with an axe. So I like that. I like that variation that you don't know as the reader going in if your kid from the Gashly Crumb Tinies is going to be the main character or not. So sometimes you're reading a couple pages like, where the hell's the kid? You know? So I thought that was kind of neat. But yeah, so guys, this book, if you are a fan of the Gashly Crumb Tinies, highly recommend. This was awesome. I loved it. These two pair up beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. I'm so glad I came upon this. If you had any way, shape, or form like the Gashly Crumb Tinies, it's a must-have. You really do need to read it. But guys, thank you so much for coming back to another episode of Pax's Little Library of Horrors. Please give me a like, hit subscribe. It would really help me out. And yeah, until next time, class dismissed.